So do you want to know what the real dark side of art supply subscription boxes is? The amount of supplies you just never use again. Some of it's great, some of it's okay, some of it is hidden treasures, and some of it gets forgotten. Hello and welcome back to Jenna Gets Creative. So this week, the weather kind of messed me up. We had some power outage issues. The video that I wanted to be Tuesday's video, I didn't even film on Tuesday. I filmed it on Wednesday. It took forever to edit. It was actually 2 a.m. Thursday for me when I got it out. So now it's Thursday night. I'm tired. I need to put out a video. I am going to do this part over here on the skinnier part of the split screen tonight. I'm going to sleep on whatever I decide, and then in the morning I will come back and do the piece that you are watching over on this side of the screen. Hopefully I put it on this side of the screen and that makes sense. Otherwise it's on this side of the screen, who knows? So what I thought I would do is we are going to dig through my boxes and drawers and whatever containers of art supplies, and we're going to pull out anything that came in these boxes that I don't think I have genuinely pulled back out again in a video. We're going to look at them, we're going to talk about them, we're going to see if they even still work. Some things don't work, so some things have already been thrown out. I'm not going to look at the cards first and tell you about those things. We're gonna find those things and then see if I can find them on the card. After we've found all of them, I will pick some that I think I want to work with, and in the morning I will come back and make whatever you're watching over there. Tell me in the comments down below, did it work out? I don't even know. Let's get into it. The first place I looked was this nice shiny box of pretty much unused art supplies that are like new condition, and I found this. I hate this pencil. I hate this kind of pencil. This is a gimmick that I just don't like. I've seen some people turn this into amazing art. I don't like it. This is the Koh-I-Noor Hard Matte Magic Pencil. There are 3 colors in this. This was nice and patriotically French colored because it came with Sennelier paints, which are French, and the featured artist in that box was French, so it was cute. But I just, like, this was the pencil for the box. How are you supposed to do a sensible sketch with this? It's jumbo sized, and you can't really control what color is coming out of it. So this came from the February 2021 Scrawler box. There it is on the back of the card, up here at the top. £1.80 RRP. I used it in the video. I have never used it since. On the topic of pencils, any of my art pencils that are not up to par, the ones that either definitely aren't light fast or I can't find light fastness information on them, they tend to go in this box instead of over there on the side of my desk in my nice big pencil box. And this definitely has some stuff in it that came in boxes. Sketchbox August 2018. This was the basic box. They sent a couple of Derwent Colorsoft pencils. I do keep the light fast ones in my pencil case. This particular shade of pink is not light fast, and I've got enough pinks with all of my brands that actually are, so this one never gets used. Also a 1 out of 6 that doesn't make the cut for light fastness. On the blue wool scale, this one's only a 2 out of 8. This is number 17 pink from the Derwent metallic pencils. This was from the December 2019 box, and I do not have a card for it. That was the box where the card and the sticker weren't in it for me, and they were supposed to send it out again and they never did. This one, I'm not sure whether or not I'm going to consider this in the running for whatever piece I end up creating, because even though the other 5 have earned their place in the box, they are light fast enough. Don't use metallic pencils. They generally don't come out, even though they qualify to be over there. June 2018, we got this 5-pack of Chameleon blending pencils. There's 2 different colors. They're supposed to be nice and blendable on either end of the pencil. These are just, they're such a gimmick. These are Crayola quality pencils, nothing special, and you're only getting half a pencil worth of each color. And since you're actually supposed to sharpen both ends and use both ends, when they start to get really short, you're not really going to want to put them in a pencil extender either. I don't like the idea of these. I think my kiddo will appreciate these once she graduates from wax crayons and washable markers to slightly more mature supplies, but I have never reached for these again. There may have been 1 or 2 no box art boxes where these were relevant and they came out just for that, but other than that, I have never reached for these. I've never genuinely just gone to use these pencils. May 2021, the second time I tried my luck at ordering just one box from Scrawler Box without knowing what was going to come. These 6 Posca pencils. In this case, they're not bad. They're a student grade quality. I would compare them to the Gold Fabers, except they're a bit softer than Gold Fabers. They're definitely more of a wax cord pencil, but there is absolutely no information on light fastness on these, and if I decide I loved them, I cannot find anywhere that you would buy these open stock, so I just automatically, after that video was done, put them in the pink box. Gone. Haven't used them. December 2019, I decided to try Upgrade. This was the 4th ever Upgrade box. They were still pretty new. I had actually contacted them when they were kickstarting this box about maybe being one of their featured artists in a initial box. They were really looking to feature European artists, and they just kind of gently told me that if I wanted to support them, I should kickstart the campaign financially. And I'm like, I'm just trying to put my art out there, actually. But I decided to give it a try. It really was a fun box. I have no box art box to this company a couple of times. Their website constantly has problems. It's very hard to find what's in their boxes, so it's a harder one for me to do that way. I find this one, you get a lot in the boxes. You're definitely getting a great value for the price you're paying, just in terms of how much is in the box, but the quality is not there. These are never really professional grade quality supplies. These are things you're going to give to high school students who are serious about art, or crafters who want something a little more durable, a little more pigmented. These things. The black one came from an Inktober themed scrawler box, but the other 3 came from this. These are the Artline sticks, brush tipped felt pens, and the barrels are like Lego bricks. You can stick them together, you can somewhat build something with them. You get the picture. You can build stuff with them. They're Lego bricks. They're Crayola quality ink. They're very hard brush nibs. They're not really something I would ever work with. I have heard that calligraphers like them for certain fonts, certain styles, because the nib is so hard, and because it's basically Crayola ink. A lot of calligraphers like Crayola markers. For the kind of art I'm doing, not it. I dug these out of my daughter's markers. But on that note, these. Let's pull out my paint marker box and see what we find in there. Wrong box. Honestly, I could get away with just featuring this whole box because I only use paint markers when it's relevant to the challenge I am doing. So these are the Artline Deco Brush markers. They are the same brand as these things. These seem to be an acrylic base. They are permanent. They go on lots of different surfaces. They are very clearly made for crafting, not necessarily for fine art. So we got a variety of nibs in here. There's a brush nib. They are actually rather flexible, much better than these brush nibs. That one is a bullet marker nib. Half of these are metallic, half of these are matte. Brush, bullet, also a bullet. I am missing the black one. Where is the black one? This one is a chisel nib, and unlike any other chisel nib I've ever seen, it comes to a point, it's like a woodworking chisel. Honestly, quite cool. I did have fun working with these. You can blend them together somewhat. They're not alcohol markers. They don't work the same as an alcohol marker. They're gonna warp the page up like you're using a water-based paint, because that's what they are, but they're also not a pump marker. They're their own thing, and it's when you've only got this color palette on something that is so unique, it's its own thing, it's really hard to find the motivation to come back and use them. Like, if I was doing mandalas on rocks all the time, these would probably be dead because I'd probably have used them weekly for the last 2 years. But I don't, and I haven't. The white pen is surprisingly good on top of dark things. That black with the interesting chisel nib, really good marker. The colors, I could take or leave them. Honorary mention to all of the different brands of pump action paint markers I have got from subscription boxes over the years. These do come out when they're relevant to the challenge I'm doing, and that happens often enough that I don't think these deserve to be included in the challenge, but like, rarely do I make a paint marker art piece for the sake of making a paint marker art piece. That's what I'm saying here. Let's pull that other box back out just to see if there's something in here. No, these are good. I like my watercolors. Oh, This almost got away from me. It was hiding over there at the back. March 2019, there it is up at the top. It added a value of 70 cents to the box. This is the Progresso woodless colored pencil, and it is white. Just white. As you can see, it's broken. This is not at all opaque on any surface. You cannot make a mark. Okay, on camera that looks like I made a mark, but it rubs away. It's useless as a white pencil. It's too hard to be a blending pencil. And unlike the other woodless pencils I've seen that it looks a lot like, it's not water soluble either. It's quite useless. And it's broken. I believe I kept it around just for the year in review Scrawler Box Is It Worth It video. I think I'm actually going to throw this out now. January 2020, when Scrawler Box switched to their new recyclable, eco, brown, not painted cardboard boxes, they're square. They were going with a gold and cardboard kind of theme, and they sent us Stuart Semple's Gold Dazzle, glitteriest glitter that is plant-based, and I got a lot of it left. But I don't use it, because I don't use glitter. And I refuse to include it in today's piece, because I don't use glitter. But I've kept it around, because nobody throws out Stuart Semple. This stuff is expensive. So you know how I said I love my watercolors? I didn't find anything in that box? Well, I just checked a different box. I'm a liar. I do not like Viviva color sheets. I find that they are so eager to bleed into any other color on the page when you use them. Even when you think they're dry, they're very hard to control, and I don't know how long this sort of format would last if you were getting heavy use out of it, but I do have a feeling that these will end up in today's piece. March 2020 Art Snacks Brunzil Color Expressions Pencils. These were a surprise. They are water soluble. Nothing in this card indicates that they are water soluble. I was very surprised to find out that they were. It's not on the barrel of the pencil. There's no brush symbol that indicates that they are, but like they're not just mildly water soluble and it's coincidence, they are water soluble. I don't think I've ever brought them back out in a video, because if I'm going to use watercolor pencils, I have Faber-Castells. Why would I use something that's meant for teenagers in high school? But it is a very cool set. I keep all of my orphaned water-soluble pencils in here in the Inktense tin. I took out the plastic dividers and I put the other water-soluble pencils and stuff in here. 2 different boxes, a Scrawler box and a sketch box, sent some of these Graphite Derwents. I really like these. I don't find opportunities to use them, but I really like them, so they're not getting blasted today. The Inktense blocks. This is something I was so excited to get when Scrawler Box sent it out, and I have never used them since. They've just lived in here, they're getting dusty. Let's pull these out and consider them. In December 2018, they asked us to draw pastel petals with Pilot friction pens. That is not one of them. This one is a basic ballpoint pen. Perfectly fine. I can accept it as a ballpoint pen. It lives with my ballpoint pens. I don't use it as an art supply. These are supposed to be highlighters. They're supposed to be school supplies, office supplies that if you choose, you can also make some art with. The problem is, like, these are designed, they're called friction because if you use these rubber rubbing ends to cause friction and heat on top of the ink, it erases it. And because of what they have done to the ink formula to make that happen, they just don't work well as a fine art tool, but they were sent to us as a fine art tool. I just want to demonstrate a bit. Look how streaky. This one still has black in it from going over the black pen over 2 years ago. Let's put down that black ink. Let's try to highlight over it. Let's use a fine liner that should be permanent. Let's try to highlight over it. Okay, you can highlight over that. Okay. The blue, the purple, the pink, the yellow. So as you can see, these are all very blah. They're all very samey. And they're all putting down these rubbery eraser bit looking pieces of gunk on the paper. These would not be a pleasure to do actual stationary highlighting with, let alone try to do art. When you try to blend these, they just stop working. I'm not even going to try to go challenge and accept it and include these in today's piece because they don't play nicely with anything else. Ballpoint pen? Sure, fine, acceptable. Highlighters? No. In August 2019, the annual Scrawlrbox Chameleon brand offering was these, the blending pens. These are fine liners that do the cap tip-to-tip method thing that the markers do, and they are so cool. I just always forget that I have them, so I would actually really like to include these in the consideration for the bigger piece. Let me just demonstrate what these do. So you got this nice little tealy kind of color. You got this yellow. Now, if I put the green cap on the yellow, hold it up like this, and wait a little bit. This is the yellow marker. It is coloring with that green color. Eventually, it's going to fade back to yellow. It's starting to do that now. But as you see, it gets a nice true green transition as the yellow ink pushes that bluish color back out. And there it's yellow again. Honestly, I don't use them because I forget that I have them because they're tucked off in a weird spot. Let's raid the pencil case, the Graphite pencils. If they're in here, that means they do not have a glorified spot in here. I don't think I've ever brought out the Koh-I-Noor pencils if I wasn't doing a no box art box that used this exact brand. And if you've watched me for any amount of time, you'll know that I don't use mechanical pencils. This is the box where I keep my watercolor type brush pens, water brush pens, those kind of things that don't have a bigger set to go in. Pastel color set of Royal Talens Ecoline brush pens. I am not sure if a darker set would impress me more, but I find that these have pretty much no pigment to them. I know calligraphers really like these, but I find these nibs eat up any sort of toothy paper, even just like plain mixed media paper or sketching paper, and they don't wet down and become paint as good as other things in this box. So I have never been impressed with them. I have never gone out and bought more of them. I have considered getting rid of them many times. These Caran d'Ache water-soluble, water-based markers, just a unassuming little bullet nib. They remind me of the Stabilo pens that kids that thought they were fancy would bring to elementary school, and then everybody else would laugh at them because it was taking forever to color anything. These are one of those surprising ones that actually dissolve in water and behave like paint really, really well, and I just never remember to bring these out. I also don't know about the light fastness on them, so I'm reluctant to use them, but I like them, so let's consider them. Some boxes have sent chalks and pastels and charcoals. I don't know which is which anymore now that they've gone into my collection, but this is something I have used and I intend to use more. They're not going to go well with anything else, so we're not going to consider them. We're applying the same logic to the pan pastels, the Rembrandt pastels, the Brunzil pastel pencils. I do use these when I do pastel pieces, and they're not going to go with the other materials that we've got to choose from. So we're not considering them, just acknowledging that they're here and you don't see them very often on the channel. Really stretching it now, reaching for things that I could include. I just looked through my box of paints. I had the Sennelier Abstract Acrylic Pouches, Derivan Liquid Pencil. I would much rather use something like the Graphite. Okay, so now that I've got everything out, let's torture myself. Use Vivivas as a base, and we'll pick some other things to do details on top. I think it's only natural that these should be working together for that base. Clearly, since we're going water soluble here, we need to use these and these. Still don't want to use these. We'll just throw all of the graphite pencils in the pile, and I will use whatever I end up using. I do want to try to incorporate these. If I need to do some highlights, I can use that white. If I need to do some chunky, bold black, I can use that. If I need to do some fine black, I can try to use that. And in between, I can probably use that. And if we're trying to do really fine pencil details on top, let's bring out the pasta and chameleon pencils. That's what I'm going to work with in a piece over on the side. I'm reaching the end of this talking to the screen part, so you've pretty much already seen what I've done here. It's probably pretty close to done. I will mention all of these things in the description down below. I'll figure out which boxes they came in. I'll look at the card. I'll tell you what the RRP was at the time that they were included in the boxes. I will make a piece using this random collection of stuff that I never use from art boxes. Let me know in the comments down below, sometime in the new year when I'm looking for a video idea, do you want to see a companion video where I start with the cards, go through the cards, and think of what are my favorite things that I've gotten in these boxes, put my favorites down, and do the same thing, pick out some things that might go together and try to do a piece. If you're looking for more to watch, I've got some suggestions up on the left side of the screen now. Don't forget to like, comment, maybe even subscribe, and if you like living life creatively, whatever that means to you, I'd love to have you along for the ride. Bye guys!